Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in this week. This week I wanted to cover a question that I get quite a bit. During the loan process, when we first initially submit your file to underwriting, once the underwriter takes a look at it, you get what's called a conditional approval. I get a lot of questions on this, so I just kind of wanted to cover what that means. So when we initially send your loan package over to the underwriter, we have collected all those documents up front. We submitted those with your loan application. The underwriter has looked through everything and said, you know what, everything here looks great, but there's a few questions I have. Can you please document this, this, and this? But I'm going to keep your file moving. I'm going to go ahead and approve it and issue what's called a conditional approval. So this is kind of the step that everybody goes through. It's not fully approved because we still have to gather a few more documents, but everything so far they've seen has given them the warm fuzzies and said, you know what, they can buy a house. So kind of typically what some of the conditions are for a conditional approval is going to be your appraisal. So we order that up front. That typically will take a week and a half to get back. So a lot of times we get the conditional approval before the appraisal is back. One of the other things is your earnest money and your option check. So you give those when you first get under contract, and we have your bank statements before you do that to show your funds for closing. But you're writing a check for the earnest money and the option. So in order to give you credit for that on the loan itself, because that will be deducted from your down payment and your closing cost, is we gotta show where that money came out of the bank. So we gotta be able to source it. So that's another condition that we get almost always. Some of the other things will be some loan-specific type mandatory clauses and documents that we need signed by you and the real estate agents and the seller. Title work a lot of the times is there, or a survey. So typically the conditions is going to be a lot less paperwork than what you would normally send in for your initial approval. So it's mostly just clearing up some of the questions that the underwriter has on the file, answering anything else that might pop up. Sometimes it's credit supplements to show that accounts are paid off or something along those lines. So it's conditional approval isn't necessarily the full approval yet, but it's saying that everything so far is A-OK. So typically once we get the conditions back, and that's when we submit for final approval or a CTC or clear to close. And those are my favorite words. That means that everything with the loan itself is done. Now is the day to sign and set up your movers. But if y'all have any questions about the loan process, how any of this works, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Again, my goal this year is to get as many of y'all into homes as I can. I'm doing very well on my goal so far this year, so just need some more here for the second half. So feel free to give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email. I'm always available. I look forward to speaking with you guys next week. Have a good one.